Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Zoey's Treasures. My name's Tracy, and I'm here with my husband, Noel. Good morning, Southern Charm. He is back there doing our cameras, running our graphics this morning. Hello, everybody. Welcome in. Happy Monday. Hope you guys had a great weekend. I have been a super busy weekend with cheer on Saturday. So, quick update for those of you who were in the show Friday. Knew I was down here in Orlando for a cheer comp. So Friday was practice. Saturday was to see if they advanced. She's on two teams. They both advanced. Hello, Kelly. Happy Mother's Day to Happy Mother's Day, everybody. To any moms out there from yesterday. Not a mom from yesterday. Happy Mother's Day, since Mother's Day was yesterday. So cheer comp, both teams advanced Saturday, went to the finals on Sunday. They ended up, both teams, surprisingly, both came in at sixth place, which is not what we wanted at all. However, we got to put this in perspective. It was sixth in the country, so that's not too bad. And it was out of like 70-something teams that even made it to finals. So it was, I mean, in perspective, it's good. From a mom who spent thousands and thousands of dollars to get here, I was hoping for a little bit better, but I'm very proud of my daughter nonetheless. That was my whole weekend. All I've done is sat around waiting to watch my daughter perform all weekend. That's all we've done. So today we're going to go have some fun in Orlando. We're going to go to Disney Springs. We are going to go see Southern Charm and her wonderful husband Tim tomorrow. We're going to meet them for dinner, so I'm looking forward to that. Southern Charm, you need to send me where we're going to meet for dinner. I was talking to Coastal Peacock last night. Does your husband do? He does. So OMG, he does do tutorials. He'll put his name in there. Go ahead and just message him. There it is right there, Zoey's team on. Message him. He'll set up a time for you. It more than likely be when we get home from Florida, so it'll probably be like later this week or sometime next week. But he'll set up a time for free. He doesn't charge, and he'll walk through all those techie things with you because I don't know how to do it. Oh, Southern Charm, you sent it to Noel. Thank you. That's why I'm not aware of it yet, because he just leaves me out of the loop. Good morning, a monster mama. Y'all, look at this. This is the cup in the Airbnb. I told my husband this is like a sip of coffee. This is not a cup of coffee. This is like, I'm probably on my third one already because it's just a little bit. It's a few weeks, you're real slow. Okay, whenever you're ready is fine. So we did our podcast last night. Before we get to the podcast, let's do some housekeeping. Let's talk about a few things coming up. So first of all, an OBS tutorial. So OBS is Open Broadcast System software. I was close. Open Broadcast software. And when you see a lot of the graphics that sellers will put on there, a lot of times like the hearts like that, they're using the Open Broadcast software. They're using OBS. So OBS is built into Whatnot. It's part of what you can use to enhance your shows in different ways. My husband will teach OBS because it's not the most, not everybody knows it. I don't know it. I wouldn't know first thing about how to use it. But he uses other software and stuff to do ours. So that's what OBS is. And you can do all kinds of cool stuff. You can split the screen, put graphics on there. There's just all kinds of things you can do with it. You will see a lot of card users in the sports card categories. They are really, really big users of OBS. D Archivist is another one. She's pretty awesome. She does a lot of talk shows, but she also does a lot of OBS on her shows. Yep, it's pretty cool. So here's the reason why we do it. Full disclosure here. Now you're getting a little taste of behind the scenes at Zoey's Treasures. Thank you. That is all my husband. When I first started, I am not the most entertaining person in the world. I try to be. And I don't think, again, I say you don't need to do cartwheels and stand on your head to be on Whatnot. But I'm pretty cut and dry, right? So my husband's like, we got to spice this up. And after a few months, he's like, look, we need to do something. And he came in and started doing graphics for me. That's how we started doing it on Whatnot. So, oh, you're going to be doing card shows as well. Awesome. Then you're in the right place. We don't sell cards, but he can help you with the OBS. Good morning, Crystals. So what was I talking about? Housekeeping stuff. So coming up, Bougie for a Buck is this Saturday, you guys. I have been talking about this show forever. This is where I'm going to do some really high-end stuff for $1. I have almost all the items listed. I have about 4 items that I have not listed that are just going to be surprise items throughout the show, but they're all bougie type items. They are listed. I already have pre-bids going on them, and we're talking, I have hens on nest, I have a fairy lamp, some swung vases, some high-end glass, and just a few other high-end items in there. There's only going to be about 25, 30 items, so it's not going to be a super long show, but it's going to be some really cool stuff. So definitely check that out. You stand a chance to get really great deals. Everything was listed at $1. Shipping is going to be capped at $9 because almost every item is a individual ship item. So I'm not going to be able to do much of the combined shipping. Therefore, I need to go up on my shipping from $4.50. I love discounts. I saw you got some pre-bids in there. I was smiling. It's kind of funny. So if you go in there and you see some of the pre-bids, I love discounts pre-bid on most of the glassware that we have bought, or I got when we were together. When we were in Indiana, we got to meet up with I Love Discounts, and we went on this little side quest to some guy neither one of us knew to his storage unit to buy glass, and we got like a private pick of glass, and most of the glass that I got during that private pick is in the Bougie for a Buck show. So. The need remarried together. I have no idea what you're saying. I love discounts. So I'm lost. Oh, the Russian pictures. Yes. Okay, so they had one of the pieces we bought. There is 2 gorgeous Russian pictures. I Love Discounts bought one. I bought one. So they're going to try to win back the other one. So if you're interested, you may have to battle it out with them. As a seller, I'm totally okay with that. Battle for it. Totally good. So is my husband going to teach a class on OBS? Probably not. He did once. The reason why he doesn't is that when you're on Whatnot, you have a vertical screen. And, he wants to answer. I'll let him answer the question.
Good morning. Well, good morning. Yes, like she was saying, Whatnot has a vertical screen. OBS is running a computer which uses landscape orientation. For me to be able to show you with accuracy what I do on the computer, you need a screen to be able to see that. If I do it on a vertical screen, it's going to be super small, and you're going to be left with, where did he click? What was that? And that's the reason why I don't do it on Whatnot.
So what he'll do, if you're interested, he'll set up like a Zoom call or a FaceTime call of some sort. So he'll just set up a call outside of Whatnot. But again, there's no charge. So we're not breaking any terms of service by going outside of Whatnot, because it's not a service we're charged for. Do the class on YouTube. Oh, there you go, Southern Charm. That's an idea. I like that. Oh, he's like, I got caught. There's a way to do it. You know what? I don't think that's not a bad idea at all.
Yeah, we can do.
Let's see if he can get his mic turned on. A podcast show, an OBS podcast. Look at, they have the solutions. You've been holding out on me. I think you knew this all along, and you were just playing shy over there. Yeah, a tutorial on YouTube would be great. And then speaking of, we can hook it to our website, which I was going to announce today. My website is finally back up and running. I had it for quite a while. I didn't like the way my website was going, so I took it down, and I have revised my website. It is like 95% of the way there, so the website looks great. The links that I have, some of the links on there, we're still working on the back end of it. But xoeystreasures.com, if you guys want to ever check that out, that is our website. We're going to start expanding that more and more. So if you come to our podcast this next Sunday, we're going to talk a little bit about the podcast. So if you come to our podcast next Sunday, we're going to be talking about seller support chat shows, or just chat shows in general. And part of what we're going to be talking about, at least what I'm talking about, is how I utilize chat shows as part of my business strategy, and kind of the overall goal of where Xoey's Treasures is going, because the chat shows are such a big part of that. And then that's how the website kind of fits in there too. So check that out if you want to check it out. But definitely come see us on Sunday for the Reselling Roundtable. It is our podcast on YouTube at 6:30 p.m. It is Zoey's Treasures, I Love Discounts, which is Tony and Lysandra, and Green 13, which is Jeremy. We all come together to talk about all kinds of stuff. Last night, we talked about how to get people in your room and how to keep people in your room, which is always the two kind of biggest questions that people ask when they first come on to Whatnot. So I thought we can kind of recap some of that today. But if you guys have questions, please put your questions in there. It is kind of open talk today. I don't have much for sale because we are still in Orlando, so I couldn't bring a bunch of stuff with me. So I don't have any physical products. I did put anything that's electronic, like all the guides, are on flash sale in the bin. So we did that. Instead of being able to sell stuff, I just flash sold the few items I have in the bin. So that's there if you want to take a look at it. But the chat show last night was really good. Was there anybody who heard the the podcast last night? I know I saw some of the names in here, but if you got to hear the podcast last night on the website, so I Love Discounts. Noelle actually didn't do my website. I used, in case you guys are interested, I used AI tool to build my complete website. So I've talked about it before, that Cintra tool that I use. I use Cintra to build that whole website. That's why we're still working on some of the links. Cintra doesn't do the links the way we needed them to go. However, that's the only thing that we're working on still. So can I use a return address on your packages to send? Absolutely, Kelly. You don't have to send anything to me, but absolutely. Kelly, though, are you talking about the Pennsylvania or the Maryland one? If you have a Maryland address, no, don't use that. That was my P.O. box. I shut it down. So if you have a Pennsylvania one, that's okay. That's the address that's valid. If you need it, just message me so I don't forget, and I'll let you know what it is. So yeah, I had a P.O. box for almost a year, and the post office is an hour away. And after a while, I'm like, I'm just tired of this drive. I'm not doing this anymore. So I shut that post office box down. All right, so we talked about last night. Yeah, it was. So I thought I needed it. I thought it was going to be good. It's one of those things we instituted kind of as a safety measure, like don't put your home address on your packages. It's safer to use the P.O. box. And it just wasn't working. I didn't find it effective for me. It seemed to be more hassle than it was a benefit to me. I'm not really super concerned. By my husband's ex-law enforcement, nobody's going to come mess with me. And if they do, they're going to be sorry that they did come mess with my house. So that's just the way it is. Good morning, Aaron. And Travel Toes. Yep, you know what I'm talking about. So, you know what I got two more things to tell you about. They're just popping into my head as we're sitting here. Good morning. We have Liz, What Liz Likes. So most of you probably should know her. She does great talk shows. She also sells really a bunch of different stuff like estate sale, storage unit type, sometimes vintage. Anyways, she was in the show last Friday, and we decided that it would be really fun for her to do. We decided, like I had something to do with this. She decided that it would be fun to do a bad advice show because we had a conversation going last Friday. So hopefully we're going to raid into Liz, not right now, whenever she goes on. But if we happen to miss her, y'all need to check her out. Sometime this morning, she is doing her chat show, and it's her normal Monday chat show, but she's going to do bad advice. She's going to give all bad advice about Whatnot, just as kind of like a comedy type thing. But she's going to be good at it. It's going to be funny. I'm hoping we can raid into her. Good morning, the Polish Picker. So we're going to see that. The other thing, Blasian Bunny, another great seller, does mainly snacks here. She is also one of the Whatnot community hosts. She created, I've got a piece of hair, keeps feeling like it's going to my eye. She created a seller support calendar. So in the bin, you can click on it. Don't buy it, just click on it, and it should fit in your screen where you can take a screenshot of it so you can get it for free. But it's a seller support every single day of the week. And I would recommend all of those sellers on there. They're all great to listen to. But if you want to know some of hey, these are some really great people to get good advice, you can take a look at that. And I did put her, she is the sweetest. And she did this out of the kindness of her heart. She's set up a group chat with all of us that are listed on there. Hey, can we use your information? And she took all her time to put that together. Let's see if I can Let's see if I can pin it here really quick. There it is down there. So you should be able to just take a picture of that. You don't need to buy it. If you do buy it, you're going to get like a vintage postcard because I have to mail you something, but it's made just to take a picture of. Are Saturday and Sunday cut off of that? Oh no. Okay, well, I'm going to have to make it a little bit smaller then. I just took what she had, so I'll try to make it smaller for the next show and make it fit better. Whatnot needs a place that displays messages that are sent to them directly, not to mention shows their responses. Whatnot really needs a place. Oh, yes, absolutely. They have that one tab in your messages where you can kind of see it, but I always have a hard time going back and tracing my Whatnot stuff. I always have to go to my email, like my regular, like my Outlook email, instead of trying to find it through Whatnot. I can never find them on Whatnot. I agree with you. They do need to do that. Where do we go to vote for a YouTube tutorial from Noelle on OBS? Oh, I'm going to push it now. Now that you guys put that idea in my head, I'm just going to keep pushing it. Let me just make a note because to make sure.
All right.
Is it working? Is your microphone working?
Can you hear me? Yeah. All right. Let's go for a day, and I'll do one live on YouTube.
Oh, look at that. He's going to do it live on YouTube. All right. Well, we'll get something scheduled and let everybody know when his live on YouTube is. But I think we should do some more tutorials on there. Oh, the bird theory. Click on the picture and you can see it all. Thank you. Thank you very much. Because I haven't gone in on the other account to see what it looks like. Perfect. Thank you so much for letting me know that. All right. So he's going to do a YouTube. And we're just talking about everything today. But one of my things for Xoey's Treasures, and I always like the advice I always give is I think we talked about this last week. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Green 13 is going to tell you different. Jeremy Green 13 is going to say, put your eggs in one basket and really watch it and really hover over that basket. Make sure to follow. Oh, thank you. I love discounts. On Whatnot. On YouTube. Yeah. Everybody knows it's YouTube, not Whatnot. We got it. Thank you. I love discounts for doing that. So Green 13 says, put your eggs in one basket and really watch that basket. I say diversify. Can you make it landscape? On YouTube, he can make it landscape, if that's what you're talking about. Linda, tell me what it is that you're talking about for landscape, and we can try to answer the question. I know I love discounts. Look at these tiny little cups that they have in this. It's gone. I took 4 sips and it's all gone. We all need more coffee. But I believe in having a whole strategic plan and not just putting all my eggs in one basket. I think the majority of eggs, I don't think we should spread ourselves too thin, because you spread yourself in too many different things, you're not going to do any one of them really great. I'm a firm believer in having most of your eggs in Whatnot and then dabbling in other things, because just what happens if Whatnot goes away? You never know what's going to happen. You want to be able to easily move to something else. So, the seller's guide, if you click on it, it should be in landscape already. So if you click on it, everybody's saying that it makes it so you can see all of it, and then you can take a screenshot. I haven't opened it from on my other account. How did we do our graphics? That's my husband. That's what we've been talking about. He has just announced he is going to do an OBS show on YouTube. We just need to get a date. Thank you, Tremelto, for helping out Linda. I appreciate that. Good morning, Tober. And y'all, I just saw a message from Tober. Tober, I hope I can announce this. Can I talk about your message that you sent out about the raid train? Give me a yes or no. Because I just announced it anyways. Y'all, Tober has a really cool raid train coming up. I'm not going to give you all the details. I got invited, but unfortunately I'm going to be traveling and I can't be there, but I really wanted to be there. Feel free, Tober, to throw it in the chat if you want to announce if you have a date or any of all that stuff. You do have a date because it's when I'm traveling. But put all the stuff in the chat. Y'all, there's going to be a cool raid train. I'm really bummed that I can't participate. But just letting you guys know so you can go and follow. Hopefully Tober will put it in the chat for you. Okay. I forget what I was talking about. Oh, putting your eggs in one basket. There you go. Y'all, it's a Monday morning. Just bear with me. It's an absolute Monday morning. So part of what Xoey's Treasures is doing is I'm really going heavy on my tax, accounting, business advice. I'm not getting out of vintage decor, but the website is just one piece of a larger plan. So I'm doing the website. I am starting to do courses. So we'll be offering courses to resellers. One of the pieces of information I got was, good morning, Forgotten Memories, that I found was Whatnot holds a 60% market share in North America. 60% market share, and we're still brand new. So this whole world of live selling is growing, growing, growing. So think about how you can take advantage of the live selling, not just in selling what you do, but there's so many other services and other things that live sellers or resellers are going to need. This is like, 30 years ago when eBay was a baby. That's where we're at now. So part of what I'm doing is setting the foundation and the base for my business to grow right along with it, and not just in vintage decor, but in accounting and education, business, accounting, tax education services. So I'm doing a lot of creating courses, writing books, writing guides, and not all of it's here on Whatnot. So there are other apps that you can offer these types of services on. And it's just going to become more and more, good morning, Lori, going to become more and more of a necessary thing. So I encourage all of you to think about your skills and your skill set. And I mean, for me, accounting, business, all of that that's naturally, because that's what I do in real life, or my real job. Like, this isn't real life. But think about what you do. There's so much that you could bring to this whole world of live shopping, e-commerce, to really expand your businesses, if that's your goal, if expansion is your goal. A little bit of creativity can go a long way, and you never know what service somebody is going to need. I have live selling popping up. Yeah, you see that everywhere. I see live selling, but do you have experience? The only one I have experience with is Whatnot. Well, no, I take that back. I have tried District, so I didn't care for it. I'm not gonna like sit here and bash it. It just wasn't for me. The software that it runs on, or like the interface or whatever it is, the structure of it wasn't is lagged far behind Whatnot. So I felt it was very clunky for me. However, there's a lot of people on there finding a lot of success. That's another one. It's very similar to Whatnot. It's kind of based off of Whatnot. There's when I was doing some research, there was like 6 or 7 of them. eBay does live selling now. There's TikTok. Who are the other ones? Instagram. What? Palm Tree is another one. I've never seen that one. My husband just told me that one. However, in the research I was doing, because I wanted to just I did a whole like market research on e-commerce and live selling, just to try to figure out what's going on in the world with it, right? And everything that I saw, Whatnot was the leader, that all the other ones were kind of lagging behind. And there's different markets. So TikTok, one of the things I was reading, TikTok is more of the influencer stuff. It's more about purchasing something right now, leaning towards brands that Whatnot's not really super heavy in. So there's like the clothing and the purses, which we have on Whatnot, but the way people buy on TikTok, the type of experience is far different than the joining in of an auction, a show, and a whole experience here. It's more of a, while I'm scrolling, I want to buy, versus let's go see a show on Whatnot, have an experience and buy. So it was 2 very different feels from the way they were explaining it. TikTok is more like QVC. Thank you. Whatnot is the OG. Yes, what is Whatnot? Absolutely. Whatnot is, I don't want to say they're the original live selling, but they're like the original live auction type. So Whatnot is leaps and bounds above all these other ones where you see live selling. Now, before Whatnot was doing live auctions, I think TikTok, you could sell on TikTok. You could probably still sell on Instagram before Whatnot. Whatnot's only 5, 6 years old. I mean, it's still in its infancy here. But the structure of it, the way that the shows go, having the marketplace and having your live auctions, is leaps and bounds above everybody else. Oh, there you go. Forgotten Memory says TikTok doesn't let you resell previously owned, only certain luxury categories. See, that's information. I did not know that. I'm not a big TikTok user, so a lot of what I can talk about is only things that I've read and researched. So thank you very much for anybody who's putting more information in there. I greatly appreciate it. You guys, if you are brand new to Whatnot, now is the time to get in. We say this all the time, but now is the time to get in. And I was actually going to talk about, because of this, because it's so, now's the time to get in and it's growing so much. I had a whole list of do's and don'ts and just kind of other thoughts. So let's go through some of these do's and we'll just talk about them one at a time. Put your thoughts in there. I want to hear what you guys think about these do's. We'll get to the don'ts later. They're pretty much the opposite of the do's, but we'll talk about these do's and see what you think. So the first one, this is the one everybody hates to hear, particularly as a new person. Show up consistently. We have all heard it. This is not anything brand new to us. I've seen some vintage decor resellers on TikTok, especially glass, unless it's a reproduction. Really? That's interesting. I don't go on TikTok a whole lot. I hear about TikTok shop and this and that. I'm just not. I just don't have the time, but I stay on Whatnot more or less. Whatnot, Instagram, YouTube are the ones that I'm kind of like hanging out on the majority of the time. So show up consistently. I was thinking about this point. We talk about this all the freaking time because it's that important. But I was also thinking about something I haven't talked about when show up consistently. This thought crossed my mind. It's not just about you being there because your buyers are expecting it or your audience, your friends are expecting it. You need to have your anchor show. But think about this. There's people that I recommend. For instance, I Love Discounts is having a shipping show tonight at 5:00. If I thought that they weren't going to be there at 5:00, I wouldn't want to recommend them. So if you're the type of person who constantly moves your show, cancels your show, can't be consistent with the show, not only are you shooting yourself in the foot with all the people who want to go to your show, but also the people who may want to recommend you. Because do you want to recommend somebody and then have them not be there? That ends up looking bad on you. I'm not going to recommend somebody who is a constant canceller of their shows, because I don't, here, go see such and such at this time, and then they never show up. I've seen, hold on, I'm missing. As a buyer, I set my life around shows. Absolutely. When you fail to show or move the show before it starts, that messes your life up. Yeah, it does. And I can't tell you, stress enough. And it just dawned on me, like I said this morning, that it's important for not only for the people coming to your shows, but the people wanting to recommend you. Would any of you want to recommend somebody who you can't count on to be there? You wouldn't do it in like normal life, like in real life, right? I'm not going to recommend the plumber who stood me up 3 times and never showed up, and I had to keep checking to see when they were going to be here. So why would I recommend the reseller or the live seller on here who keeps canceling their shows? And you're going to hear, and I am, as a buyer, it annoys me too. I'll give you like 3 chances and I'm out. I probably won't make an effort to go back to your shows. Now, life happens. Life happens to all of us. You end up being on planes, flights get delayed. That's my biggest thing, the reason why I end up having to move or cancel a show. Life happens. But I say that's the exception. Don't make the exceptions your rule that you live by over and over again. And you're going to hear a lot of people, a lot of resellers on here, a lot of talk show people will say, oh, it's okay. You'll keep your bookmarks, just reschedule it. If you can't make it, just reschedule it. You're hurting yourself all the way around. You really need to figure out, if you can't commit to that day and time, don't commit. Don't schedule it. Find the day and time, even if it's once a week, and then start adding on from there on times that you can do it. Somebody even in the last show, somebody had asked, hey, I have a crazy schedule at work. It changes every week. I never know what my schedule is going to be. How can I, get an anchor show? How do I pick a day and time when my schedule's all over the place? And that's very realistic. You think about, if you're in a customer service, hospitality industry, your schedule changes, law enforcement, nursing, like those are professions that you never know when you're going to be on. But a lot of times too, my answer to that was, you usually can say, hey, I cannot work on Mondays between 6 and 9 p.m. On a lot of those jobs, not all of them. I understand there's some people who just absolutely have zero control. But on a lot of jobs, you can be like, I can't work this day between these hours. Well, maybe schedule your show during those hours if you know that's the only one time slot that you have for sure all the time. I will stop following and buying from people who move it more than twice. There you go. We're hearing it in there. It does affect the perception of it. Think about if you were to go to the store and you know they're always open. And think about your favorite grocery store, your favorite restaurant, or any place that you like to shop. You kind of have an idea. Most stores we know open around 9 or 10 in the morning, most retail stores, and they usually close between 7 and 9 at night for the most part. There may be some, few exceptions in there, but that's kind of general. And the ones that we visit, we know. Well, if you were to show up on during the times when you expect it to be open and they're not open, you're like, what's going on here? I just wasted my gas. I just drove over here. And you're kind of like a little annoyed. You might not stop shopping there immediately, but it doesn't leave a good feeling for you. And the last thing we want is to leave anybody with a bad feeling about our shows. Can you talk about how live selling connects to traditional static profession? Like, are we just selling a course? Well, let me see if I understand T-Bubble. Hold on. Can you talk about how live selling connects to traditional static professions? Like, are we just selling a course? I don't understand the last half of that, the selling a course. Explain that. But as far as live selling connecting to static selling, they are two completely different mindsets. And I may not be answering your question the question that you're asking. So put it back in there if I'm not, please. Live selling and static listings are two completely different mentalities. And the problem that a lot of people have when they come to live selling is they're bringing their eBay mindset. So they're bringing this, I got to write this detailed title with all the SEO keywords, and then I've got to write my description and put every little piece of information that somebody may need to know in the description. And I got to put 20 pictures on here, whatever it is, because that's all the person gets when they're static listing. And it's all about the product. They don't know you. They don't see you. They don't recognize you. We don't even have to think about repeat buyers in those businesses. That's just product transactional focused. We come to Whatnot. Whatnot's relational. Whatnot is about you. They're buying you well before they buy that product. It's a completely different mindset. And a lot of people struggle and fail at the very beginning because they want to run Whatnot like they run eBay. And you can't. Like if I'm a therapist and I'm looking towards the future of live selling, how do they connect? Live selling is going to get bigger and bigger in the services category. We don't really have a service category now, but services are going to become more and more of a part of live selling. I would not be surprised. I don't have any insight knowledge. This is totally my opinion, my own prediction. If doesn't become a service category at some point in the future on Whatnot. So if you're a therapist, if you're thinking something like that, so let me brainstorm for a second. If I'm a therapist, you can offer mini sessions. You can offer mental health type tips. You can do a mental health chat shows. You can offer a little ebooks on mental health. No, don't be sorry. Sometimes I just don't understand what I'm reading. A biology teacher offer tutoring type services. So think about things like that. Hold on. Let's see. Real quick, we're going back to the other conversation. I had to reschedule my Tuesday and Sunday show. I ended up in the hospital and said, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I hope you're doing better now, Linda." So think about what you do in real life. There's always something you can offer, you can bring to it. And those of you that are teachers, that are nurses, I was talking about this on the podcast last night. Use those skills that you have in your profession to enhance your live selling, not just by like bringing tutoring or talking about like mental health if you're a therapist, but you facilitate in your real jobs. All of us to some degree, even if you're in customer service, you have to teach somebody else how to do your job, right? You have to train somebody. You have to walk customers through something. Maybe you're in a customer facing role and somebody comes to do a return and you have to walk them through the steps of something. That's facilitation. Those are all the same skills that we need here on Whatnot. Take what you know and what you've mastered to make your selling better also. All we're doing here, you don't have to think about yourself as salesman. You're facilitating. All you're doing is helping an item go from one home to another home. You're telling about it. You're teaching about it. You're explaining it. You're communicating with the audience in your room. So it's when you start relying on the skills you already have and thinking how they apply to what you're doing, it becomes so much easier because it's not like you have to be a salesman to learn a whole new set of skills. Good morning, Kate. So hold on, let's see. I'm a bio teacher. I see, gotcha. So that's not against Whatnot rules. Josie, what's not against Whatnot rules? Offering tutoring, as long as you keep all payments on Whatnot. The Whatnot rule says you cannot take things off platform. All transactions have to occur within Whatnot. Let me give you a perfect example of this. If I tell you, hey, you guys, go to my website and buy such and such, that's against Whatnot rules. I am trying, in an instance like that, I am moving, and I'm not doing that. I mean, this is just for example purposes. And something like that is I'm taking money out of Whatnot's pocket and putting it somewhere else. That's against Whatnot rules. But selling PDFs and sending them through an email, selling a guide, sending it through an email, selling a course, and then offering it on, as long as the money goes through Whatnot, and then having like some type of a server. There's many different online softwares that offer like a course type where you can build courses in, and doing it through there, or doing a Zoom call afterwards. None of that is against Whatnot terms of service, as long as the whole transaction occurs within Whatnot. It's about moving money away from Whatnot. And I really, really believe services are going to get bigger. We are going to a world where most of our transactions are going online. How many of you have malls that are gone, like shopping malls that maybe have 1 or 2 stores and they're dying? The malls are slowly going away. It's like what happened to Blockbuster. Netflix came out, Hulu came out, and it didn't happen immediately. It wasn't like Netflix turned on and all of a sudden all the Blockbusters locked their doors. But it happened. It's progression. It's evolution in the retail markets. Yes, Mary, thank you. You absolutely, if anything you're doing, any type of service, you still have to mail something. And that something has to be listed within the description. So make sure that you don't miss that rule. That is one of the terms of service. Thank you for reminding me. Hello, Queen Flamingo. So we're talking about our dues and how to expand what you're doing to different things on Whatnot. Just think about other ways to generate revenue. It is great. I'm not saying don't sell clothing, don't sell your stuff. Sell your stuff. I'm not getting out of vintage decor. I love vintage decor, but it's not going to be my main bread and butter. I mean, it's going to be something that contributes to my income. It's one revenue stream. There's going to be others. It's going to grow. I'm going to talk a lot more about this. We're going to talk a lot more about chat shows and utilizing them and service type things on our Sunday podcast. This coming up week is going to be the topic there. And so since we just decided last night that this was our topic, it's been going through my head. And so obviously it just came out. Don't be sorry. Nothing to be sorry for. So show up consistently. We talked about that. We can't stress that enough. Engage with your audience, or engage with the chat. I hate calling it chat, but it's hard, engage with your audience. And we talked about engagement. Last night was a lot about keeping people in the room. Keeping people in the room means you have to engage. And there's so many ways to engage. Open-ended questions. Again, engagement means involving the audience. It's not standing on your head doing cartwheels. It's involving the audience. So calling people out by name nicely, we're not calling them out in a bad way, saying people's names, talking to them, asking open-ended questions, asking for more detail on something. If you're selling something, hey, you guys, if you could design this cup, what would you put on this cup? I mean, that may be a silly example, but using the things that you're selling. And I think a couple of weeks ago, I talked about having like a little cheat sheet. Write down a few talking points. Put something next to you that if you get silent, that you have a reference to, that you can just bring up in conversation. The other thing, who pointed this out last night? Chatty Wampus. I don't know if she's here this morning, but she's frequently in my shows. She pointed out that she seems to have a certain demographic. Oh, there you are. Hi. A certain demographic in her shows. Like she's noticed, like a certain age group, men or women. She didn't go into a lot of detail, but a certain demographic in her shows. And we all have that. Some of you may be selling cards, maybe more, if you sell cards, it may be more men, maybe younger men. If you're selling, depending on what you're selling, you're going to kind of gear towards different types of personalities and people, right? You had a mystery item. So start understanding who that demographic is, and then find things that they may relate to. I mentioned this last night, but the reason I talk a lot about Walmart and Target stories, because I know the demographic of people that are coming to my shows. Pretty much everybody can relate to a good Target story, right? Pretty much everybody knows that you go to Target just to figure out what the Target gods are trying to tell you to buy. Yeah. What is this question? Got the chat talking. Oh, that's the, so what, oh, what is the question? So you had a mystery item and you're like, what is this? And it got him talking. Love that. Love that idea. So Josie says you printed fun facts about the collections and the people in history. Yeah. And then when it gets quiet, it gives you something to talk about. Here's the other thing that a lot of the new people, you're going to hear brand new people, and sometimes some experienced people say, I ask questions and nobody answers them. The chat is so quiet. A lot of that depends on you. If you have to answer the question. Any question you ask, you need to be answering it. You're like the first one. If you don't see immediate responses, you're like, give them a second and then be like, well, what did you guys do this weekend? And you wait, oh, you know what I did? And then you start talking about it. A lot of people coming into your room, until they know you, they're going to be shy to talk. Like, do you just walk in a room anywhere in real life and just start talking? A lot of people don't. They don't just walk in and say, hey, everybody, I don't know any of you, but guess what I did this weekend? You're going to feel it out. You're going to get the vibe of the room as the person coming into the room. You're going to want to understand that person on the screen. Whoever's hosting the show, people are going to come in here, brand new people to me. They're going to come in. They're going to be like, who is this lady? Can I joke with her? Do I have to be super serious? Can I, put something kind of funny in there? Can I put something kind of risque? Can I disagree with her in the chat? You never know what the vibe is. So it takes a while, particularly when you're new, for people to figure out who you are. So that goes to the next point of being your authentic self. Be you, because the quicker people realize who you are, the more likely they are to start talking to you. Let's see. My husband's upset that my item's pinned here. He doesn't like any words on the screen, but I don't blame him. I don't like it neither. Good morning, Engelon. How are you? So, what are some of the other do's? So we're talking about the growth. Oh, hold on. The man needs to say something.
Well, I noticed Inga came in, so I was going to say, good morning, Inga. How's your jet lag? She was having such a great time in Lithuania. She was showing such great places, and she brought back a really good collection of ambers, if I'm correct. Hello, Miss Colmary. Good morning.
Hello, estate addicts.
Very much, very much. Super cool.
So here's another probably against the traditional advice that I would say on the do's. Go live even if you don't feel ready. Now, some of you are like, Tracy, I know you. You're the one who talks about planning, and having everything lined up. Yes, I'm a huge proponent on planning. But a lot of people are going to say, go live only when you're at your very best. And I probably am guilty of saying this myself in the past. Go live at your very best. But when I start thinking about it a little bit, I think you should go live as soon as you have most of your ducks in the row, and even if you don't feel like it. Any ideas on games to play? I know a few things aren't allowed. Yeah, we'll talk about games. Let me finish this thought and we'll get to games. I'm going to write that right here. We're going to talk about that next, because I have a couple thoughts, and if anybody else has thoughts on games, please put them in the chat. Being consistent is better than being perfect. Showing up is better than showing up completely 100% prepared. I'm all for being prepared. I think you need to get that. But if you have to go either consistent or 100% prepared, I would lean towards consistent. Show up. Do the best you can to have all your ducks in a row, but show up. And even if you don't feel like it. The other day, Friday night, I was drained. I could barely keep my eyes open, and you still show up. It may not be the best show, but be real, be authentic about it, be truthful. Hey, y'all, it's been a long day. I'm exhausted, but we're going to talk about this topic tonight, and I'm going to do my very best. People will appreciate that more. People who have scheduled their time to come and see you at a certain time, if you show up and you show up tired and even not at your best, they're going to appreciate that more than you canceling on them or moving the show. Now, I don't mean come on there when you're, obviously puking your guts out. Nobody wants to see that. But don't let, oh, I'm just tired tonight, or my toe hurts. You got to really put some thought into this. Yeah, you'd feel worse if you didn't show up. Exactly. All right, let's talk about games, because that's another way to help increase engagement. I am not a fan of spin the wheel, any of these gambling type games that Whatnot offers, I'm not a fan. Here's why I'm not a fan. They're highly, highly regulated. There is a million rules around them. The more rules you have on something, the easier it is to break one of those rules. I don't want to jeopardize my business. That risk is absolutely 100% not worth it to me. There's games you can play that are fully within Whatnot's realm that you don't have to use a wheel, you don't have to use any of those features. Some of the stuff we've done, we have drawn like tile Scrabble letters out. How did we do that? We pulled, I made up words. One of these games, and this is probably one of the most popular. We had words made up, and I had the Scrabble letters in an envelope for a certain word. And I would pull, every time somebody won an auction, we pull another word, a letter out. And we would put them in the chat, and people had to try to piece those letters together to make a word. So it was kind of like an unscramble the word type thing, one letter at a time. It was highly popular. We've only done it once. We should probably do it again. But people were talking in the chat. They were guessing answers. And this was before I was doing dollar stars. Was that before? And then every time they guessed a word, we would run the next item at $1. So it was just kind of like the prize was to run the next item for $1. You can't technically give prizes. You can't say, oh, do this and you're going to win something, because that has to be done within Whatnot system. But you can do a prize that benefits everybody, like running something for $1 or putting something really cheap on a flash sale or something like that as a prize. Yeah, you can think of different things. People play trivia all the time. Trivia is a fun one. I've gone into many shows where they're playing trivia. Can you add a coupon as a prize? No, because you can't add a coupon. With coupons, what I suggest is you could put it in your show notes. You could in their boxes without telling them. You just add coupons at the end without saying anything about it, but you can't advertise, oh, if you buy this, I'm going to give you a coupon. You can't do that, but you can put them in the boxes. There you go. I love the trivia games too. I think they're fun. You want to get your chat moving? Try a trivia game. Try like, okay, every 3 items, we're going to ask another question. If somebody guesses it, we're going to, run the next item less. And you don't even have to do a prize. You could just be like, oh, you got it. I love discounts. You've got bragging rights. Congratulations. All right. I love discounts. You got bragging rights until the next person gets an answer. Or, hey, I love discounts. Guess what? You won. Everybody I love discounts. Tell people when your next show is. Play it like that. It's like, just have fun with it. In Southern Charm, less trivia. There's trivia, there's unscrambling letters. You can play like, I don't want to get, what? Guess the emoji games. Go to ChatGPT. All of you have access to the free version if you're not paying for it. Plinko, I can barely say that as a game. Yes. Go to ChatGPT, type in what kind of games can you play and whatnot, but then temper the results. Make sure that whatever you get from there, you may need to modify it to make sure that you're fitting in terms of service. That's the biggest thing. Like, just don't make sure that there's winners. Like, you can't pick a winner. Guess the muted word. There you go. Chat guesses a word. You put a coupon code for everyone to. Yeah, you can do that. Yeah. Like, soon as somebody guesses a word, oh, you won. Now, you can use coupons in that manner. Guess what? You've Josie's unlocked a coupon code for everybody to use, and you type it in the chat. This is going to get you $2 off. Stuff like that. Absolutely. Oh, we don't have any show notes today. Thank you, Forgotten Memories. Let's see. Let me add my show notes. I totally forgot to add any show notes today. Let's see here. There we go. Now I have show notes. All right. No, it was not intentional. It was a complete oversight on my part. So, all right. So that was games. If anybody else has ideas, put ideas in there, unless, you want to be like, not have somebody steal your idea, but put show notes in there. Or show notes. I can't talk. Put game ideas in there. There's so many that you can do, and it's a great way to get involvement. How about, I talked about this last night, and I would love to get your guys' opinions, because I see a lot of vintage people do this, particularly in vintage. Probably that's where I see it the most. Bundling items not only helps engagement, people like it. They want to stick around. They want to see what kind of deals they're going to get. Bundle in people's head means deal. Okay. It means I'm getting more for my money. It also helps you as a seller, one, to move products, but to increase your average order value. So The biggest mistake I see here on Whatnot is people breaking things apart. And I said this last night. I'm going to give them credit again today. Lysandra from I Love Discounts, because I used to do this, and I'll tell you why I used to do it, told me, what the hell, Tracy? Why do you keep breaking up all these sets? Just sell it as a set. The reason why I used to do it is I came on Whatnot, and like everybody else, I would visit shows to learn what to do. I would go and look at everybody else. I would listen to the chat show people. And what did I see? I saw somebody who had 4 cups and they would sell 1 cup at a time. Okay, I guess that's what we do here. Instead of saying, Tracy, step back and think about how you want to run your business, I blindly followed, which is not what we should do. And then Lysandra comes along and she's like, girl, what the hell are you doing? Like, what are you doing? Bundle. If you have cups, do not sell me 1 cup at a time. What good is 1 cup? I have been on Whatnot for going on 2.5 years now. What good is this 1 cup going to do me? If I'm a single person living by myself, maybe. At least make it a set of 2. Don't do odd numbers. A set of 3 cups looks like you're missing 1. Do a set of 4. Do 2, 4. Do even numbers of cups. And don't just sell me 1 at a time. Don't just do 1 cup at a time. Don't do 1 salt shaker, and then a pepper shaker. That one I don't see so much. 2 pictures that are meant to go together. Don't do 1 picture and then the other. Why do they do this? Why do sellers do this? They break up sets because they think they're going to get a lot of money for one and a lot of money for the other. And it increases my chances. That's 2 sales. I'm going to get more money. What happens is you're almost discouraging sales, because if I'm a buyer and I see 2 pictures and they're meant to be together, and that you're like, okay, well, I've got 2, they match, they go together, but here, I'm going to sell 1 at a time. The first thought that goes through my mind is, I really want those, but what if I get outbid on the other one? Then I'm not going to have the set. I'm not even going to risk it, because if I can't get both, I don't want them, right? Put them together. They're going to bid higher because there's 2 instead of 1. I just won't bid. Trying to get to the 1K, and I get trying to get to the 1K, but I think it's going to be better, just my opinion, to putting those things together. Quit breaking up sets. Now, if you have a full set of china, I'm not shipping that. I would not expect anybody else to ship a full set of china. Break it up into reasonable pieces. The sugar and the creamer together. That's the other one I see. Everybody does a sugar bowl and then the matching creamer. Just put them together. They're a set. Dishes, like if you have china, which isn't a huge thing, but I still sell a lot of china on Whatnot. Make them into place settings, or do 4 plates or 4 saucers together, or do 1 whole place setting. There's ways to create different bundles that helps things move a little bit better for you as a seller, and the buyers appreciate it on the back end. So that's a big one. Anybody have thoughts on bundles? Do you guys see this? Do you see people separating things out? Is it something that bothers you? That the heck, I really don't care. Sell sets and sets as much as you can. Now, there are certain times when, again, you've got to think about the circumstance. There are certain times, for instance, last week, before we went out of town and I had my bin loaded, I had a whole vanity set that I did break up into separate pieces. Part of that is because my experience tells me the full set, I don't get a whole lot of money for, and that they're hard to sell. Anytime I have bought a full vanity set and tried to sell it as a full set, it has sat on my shelf for months and months and months. So I find those pieces sell better separately. Ironically, the same person did buy the full set, which is one of those weird cases where it was like, okay, you just got proved wrong. So look at your history too. Look at how people like to buy things. I feel like nobody even considers me because my sales are way under 1K as a newbie. But I get it. What you're saying makes sense. And it's not that they don't consider you, Josie. It's when you're new, the problem is that new, and it's not a problem, but this is what happens to all of us, because it happened to me 2.5 years ago. Look, Whatnot's been around for 5 years. So when I came on here 2.5 years ago, there were OG sellers making a ton of money, doing great. We come on and that's what we see. We see these people, or we see somebody on Whatnot, somebody on Facebook posting, or Instagram, and they're killing it on Whatnot and making it look so simple and so easy. What they're not showing is the truth behind that simple and easy picture that they put on social media. All of us have been there. All of us have busted our butts. I mean, I am beyond blessed to have 60 something people in this show. For over a year, I couldn't get 10 people in a talk show. So you've got to show up consistently over and over and over. and look at your pricing. Does your pricing scare people off? Look at your room. Is your lighting good? Are you engaging? Are you answering questions? Are you acknowledging? How fast are you talking to your chat? All of that stuff, there's all these little pieces that you have to pull together and start fixing one piece at a time, and you will see your shows grow. They will, without a doubt. Cynthia says, my very vintage china pieces are usually purchased as replacements one at a time. Makes more sense. Yeah, so Cynthia, sometimes it is. If you have popular patterns that people do, I would place those in the bin. You can place like plates and sell them one at a time, but if you're auctioning them for an auction, I don't suggest piece by piece, because people aren't going to look for replacements piece by piece at an auction, but they're going to see, oh, that pattern's really pretty, but I don't want to have to sit here and try to win 6 different auctions to get the plate, the saucer, the bowl, all the little pieces together. Just sell a whole place setting. If you sell one whole place setting, they have to win 2 auctions to serve themselves and a guest, right? Minor league and major league. Not sure what you're referring to. Explain to me a little bit more. So these are just some items to think about. So another do. Small sellers and large sellers. Yeah, and you know what? Look, we're all sellers. And I like to refer to people who we think is large as OG sellers. We all just have different business models. Just because somebody sells, they're on 5 days a week and they sell 300 items and their hens on the nest go for more than my hens on the nest, they're just a seller. They are just like me. They get up in the morning, they worry about their inventory, they have to figure out their show schedules, they click the exact same freaking buttons and whatnot that I have to click. We are all the same. Our business strategy, our business models are different. That's all it is. And we like to compare ourselves to these bigger people. It's easy. Look, I get caught in that trap too. There are days where I look at somebody else and I get caught up in the comparison. Experienced sellers, there you go. There, I like that. More experienced sellers. But size, in this instance, I'm just saying size doesn't matter as far as somebody who's selling 300 items versus somebody selling 30 a show. We're still sellers. We're still doing the same thing. Comparison is a thief of joy every single day. Absolutely 100%. Now, use comparison to your advantage. Use it as market research. See what they're doing good. See what they're doing that's like, oh, people are dry. Look at when they just did that, they lost 10 people. Maybe I don't want to do that, right? So use comparison in a way that helps you build your business better. 2 minor league players out there who can want major folks rear one-on-one. There are minor league. Yeah, there are. And there's good things about big sellers, and there's bad things about big sellers, and there's good things and bad things about small sellers. Again, we're all here trying to achieve the same goals, right? We're trying to sell stuff and make money at the end of the day. What they're doing is different. And think about this. We may get, I may look at somebody in vintage decor and be like, man, they've get 300-400 people in their show, and look at all the items they're selling. Okay, first of all, I couldn't keep up with 300 people in my chat. There is no way. Let me read this and I'll finish my thought. We got a raid.
Welcome in, Raiders. Grab your hats and step into Xoey's Treasures, where the relics aren't cursed. They are for sale.
Love to love you. Thank you so much for bringing your people over. I am Tracy. This is Xoey's Treasures. We are doing just like a Sell a Sport chat show today. Normally I sell stuff on Mondays, but we're out of town, so I can't sell because I can't ship. Love to love you. Please put in the chat all your details. I want to know everything about you, like everything. Favorite color, like favorite food. No, not really. Tell us everything about who you are, what you sell, when you're on, all that good stuff. So anybody who sees that and likes it can give you a follow. So, all right. What was I talking about? I had a thought going on and I lost a thought. If I remember that thought, we'll come back to it. Do you remember what I was talking about? It totally left my head. I was in mid-sentence and my husband's like, okay, let's do this. Let's talk about the next do. Tease your upcoming shows, you guys. Tease your shows. Do call to actions. So many people do not do a call to action. You're missing big opportunity. Why don't we do call to action? We don't like to ask for things. Who here likes to ask people to do things? Not me. Tremoto's like, not me. I don't like to ask people to do things at all. But we got it. It's not you. Think about it like this. It's your business asking them to do stuff in your business. Okay. It's every single business asks you to do something. How? They ask you in forms of advertisements. They ask you in forms of sales. They ask you to do things in forms of their coupons. Every single business asks you to do something. We have to get into the habit ourselves of businesses of asking you to do something. And you can do it in a way that's not cheesy and not salesman-y, but you should always have call to actions throughout your show. Throughout your show, have calls to actions. Why? Because you go into a show, put yourself in the buyer's shoes. You go into a show, you're just there chilling. You may be doing something in the background. You may just be having it on like it's your TV. Without some prompt, people aren't usually going to go do something without being prompted to do it. So throughout your show, check my bin. Tell them the call to action. Look at my items in the bin. You guys, I put a bunch of stuff on flash sale in the bin. Go check it out. Your next show. Hey, you guys, I am doing a bougie for a buck. I really want you to be at this show. I'm doing high-end items. It was really great. Everything's going to start for $1. You should constantly, not every 2 seconds, but have different calls of action throughout your show and never close your show without mentioning when your next show is. Love to love you. Pre-loved kids, clothes, toys, and vintage. A 1K. Well, congratulations on your 1K. That's a huge milestone on Whatnot. Congratulations. Okay. Here's another one. Again, I'm gonna go against the grain on this next one. My shows are Tuesday mornings. Looky Lou. All right, Looky Lou. Please do not promote unless asked to do so. Thank you. Okay. Respond to every order. You're going to hear some sellers say, I have 48 hours to answer you. Don't push me. I have 48 hours to answer you. Yes, we have 48 hours to answer customer complaints. Try to answer them in 24 hours or less if you can. This is totally Tracy advice. This is total Tracy. Look, take this or leave it. I'm telling you, this is my opinion. The faster you respond to people, the better feeling it puts in them, the more they appreciate that response. Does not mean that you need to hurry up the minute they email you. Does not need to be that you've got to be on watching for their DM, like just waiting for somebody to message you. But if you can respond within 24 hours, the more goodwill you're going to have out of that. Now, some responses need you to take a breath. Some responses need you to be like, all right, I need to take a beat here and think about a good response for you. But responding fast, definitely. I hear some people say, I have 48 hours. I'm going to wait 48 hours before I respond to you. Do you like that? If you're on the other side of it, if I have a complaint and I email a seller, hey, the item came broken. I hate to tell you this, but it came in my box and it was shattered to pieces. How do you want me to handle this? I don't want to wait 48 hours to hear a response. Like, I'm going to be thinking, are they ignoring me? This is an immediate world. It doesn't mean that we need to, again, be sitting there with our phones waiting for this to come through. But Whatnot answers us quicker than that. So, okay, I'm reading it. My husband's like, looky loose. All is cool. I'm not mad at anybody. All is cool. I asked not to promote. Let's talk about this. Let's just talk about this as a thing here and not picking on anybody in particular. In my shows, I prefer people only to promote when invited to do so individually. Like when you raid, you get the chance to promote. Every now and then I'll be like, hey, such and such, tell us what you do. What happens here? And this is a big controversy because you hear this on Facebook. Newer people will say, I was in a larger seller's room and they didn't allow me to promote. They got mad at me. And I'm not mad at anybody. But the reason why, when you're brand new on Whatnot and you're trying to get people to engage in your chat, you will see a lot of very new sellers say, everybody's welcome to promote in my room. Go ahead. Why? Because people aren't talking in their chat, and this is a way that they feel gets people talking. It's a way that they feel that they connect with people and get goodwill with people. And they're not wrong with that. However, as you start to grow, and I don't say this in an egotistical, I'm bigger than you way, because that's not it at all. It's just matter of fact. As you start to grow and you get more people in your room, if all 53 people in here started to promote, it would block out. I wouldn't be able to find the real comments. I wouldn't be able to find what people were actually trying to talk to me about or talk to each other about. And it makes it very cluttery in the chat and distracting. That's in a chat show. That's one. And then in a selling show, it distracts from the sell. It's just very rude to the seller during a selling show. And this is a chat show, so that's not where we're at right now. But that's why as you start to grow, it becomes very disruptive. Personally, I feel if I mention somebody's name, it's because they rated me, and that's a thank you. That's an honor. You chose to come into my room. I am showing my gratefulness and my appreciation to you by offering that to promote yourself in my room. Outside of that, when I say somebody's name, it's because I've had a personal experience and I believe in that person. That holds so much more weight in my room and the people who come and see me, knowing that because I'm going to say somebody's name in a way to promote them, that it truly comes from my heart. And that's where I come from. That's my perspective. And that's not everybody's perspective. And I'm okay with that. That's just how I run my rooms. Yeah, exact. Forgotten memories. The easiest way to promote without promoting is to be active participant in the chat, just like you see, a lot of people are doing right now. So I am not mad at anybody, but I used to allow promoting all the time, and I've been gradually coming to the other side of it to where I'm at now. And again, it's not in an egotistical way; it's a growth. And I think a lot of sellers, as they kind of move through their whatnot journeys, they start to grow in the same manner. So that's where we're at with that. The other thing is, the other side of that is, when you raid, it is seen as a, when you raid at the end of your show, it's seen as kind of a unwritten rule of whatnot. It's part of the etiquette of ending a show is to raid into somebody else's, to take your viewers, your friends into somebody else's room. That's kind of like this unspoken whatnot etiquette way to end your show. The person receiving that shows gratefulness, shows that gratitude for that, for being chosen for that. It's like an honor to be chosen for that. I totally lost my thought again. I'm on a roll with losing my thought this morning. If somebody just promotes without the invitation to do so, 9 times out of 10, it degrades them in the sense that people are like, what in the heck are you doing? They don't want to go. They don't want to click on it. It's almost a very ineffective way to get people to follow you and to bookmark your shows. It's I don't want to say like a psychological thing, but I've asked in many, many chats how many people actually click on those, and it's very few. When you raid and you put it in there because you're invited to, that has a higher conversion of people actually following you because they see that as part of the normal course of whatnot. All right. You give so no nonsense. Thank you so much, Ruby. Oh, there we go. Kimmy D. I have clicked exactly 0 times. Kimmy, I'm with you. Now, I have clicked if somebody's rated and the host actually knows that person and they really talk them up. I've clicked then because I click when I feel that it comes from the heart. That's when I click. All right. Here's something. I wish that the etiquette is explained when you join as a new seller. The serial hobbyist, that is one of the hardest things to grasp a hold of. I didn't raid in my first show because I didn't know you were supposed to raid. A lot of people, the advice is before you sell, you should spend some time and visit shows and buy from people, but you still don't learn all of that. And I didn't really do that. I Love Discount says they went to a bunch of shows, but they didn't spend a whole lot of time. They were pretty quick becoming sellers too. We just don't learn it. You see a lot of people are like, yeah, no, I just kind of jumped into it. There's somebody that I know from my outside life. I don't want to identify who the person is. They never raid. And it's one of my biggest pet peeves. And I have told them, look, you got to raid. You got to raid at the end of your show. That's etiquette. And they just refuse to. They're like, nope, I don't have to. I'm not going to do it. I'm like, that's hurting you. It's hurting you. I suggest going to the chat shows. Go look at the seller support. Take a little screenshot of that, the one that Blasian Bunny did. I'll pin it back up here again for people who are just coming in the room. This is created by Blasian Bunny. If you click on it again, it opens it up and you can take a screenshot. You don't need to buy it, just screenshot it. These people will talk about etiquette every single day, and you can ask questions. All of the people listed on this are people that are good about being able to answer questions, and you can ask them anything that you want to ask them. One of the things, not for the people here, I have a lot of faith. There's two of them I don't know, but if Blasian Bunny put them on there, I trust her judgment. But be careful. A lot of sellers. Did she have a good show last night? I didn't get to see it, but I'm glad to hear that. New sellers that receive a raid that don't acknowledge it. Oh yeah, I always acknowledge your raid. Be honored. That is an honor that person chose you to raid into, because they could pick how many others, thousands of sellers on this app, and you got picked out of all these thousands of sellers. That was pretty amazing, right? Ruby says, I only raid in sellers that I know, trust, and I can vouch for. So raids are a good topic, since we're just kind of scrolling and talking about everything today. I Love Discounts says this, and you, Lysandra or Tony, if you're in here, feel free, but put your thoughts in here. They've talked about using raids as part of your strategy for your business. There's different objectives on who you raid. Sometimes you just raid just to raid. It doesn't matter. But you may raid a smaller seller as a sign of goodwill. Raid should be strategic. There you go. You may raid a smaller seller as a sign of goodwill, to help support them, to help build up their rooms. You may raid into somebody who already has 200 people in their room for the exposure to the 200 people, because a host, when they get a raid, should announce you. They should thank you for the raid. At the bare minimum, they should be thanked, and maybe a slight mention or two. I think a quick, hey, thank you for the raid, Bob. I think you should try to do something a little bit more. Personal opinion here. I don't think you have to stop your show for it, particularly if it's a selling show. You don't want a huge interruption. You want to acknowledge and keep selling. So you think about who you raid. I am pretty picky about who I raid. I have raided some people and been, what I say, burned or felt bad for bringing everybody in my room to them. Not because they didn't acknowledge, but because of like, they were a hot mess. And I'm like, oh, great. I just dumped people into a hot mess of a room. Then I feel bad about it. So I usually am pretty selective. If I go to raid and I don't see anybody on that I feel like can handle people well or handle a room, then if I don't see anybody, I will warn. I'm like, look, I don't know this person. We're making a new friend. I have no idea what we're getting into. So I always try to warn people if I have no clue who we're going to. One time we did raid. Sometimes, here's the thing, you can raid some smaller people. We raided a girl one time, and it was so heartwarming. She was a newer seller. We brought 40 or 50 people in, and she started crying. She felt so blessed. Everybody started buying from her, and this had nothing to do with me. All I did was click a button. But all of the people in that room saw that she was a new seller, saw how grateful she was for that raid, the way she accepted the raid. That was the best raid ever. Yeah. The people in the room saw how grateful she was and her reaction to the raid, that they all immediately wanted to start supporting her. And she started selling stuff left and right. Then she, at the end of her show, she kept most of these people, then raided into somebody else, and almost the exact same thing happened. And the next girl started crying and being grateful for the raid. And I don't say cry when raids come in, but it was a genuine, like, oh my God, I'm so grateful. You're the first raid I ever got, or whatever it is. And it was pretty cool. It was a pretty good feeling to be like part of that and witness that happen. You would probably cry. You would possibly cry. Just, the thing is, when we get a raid, let's talk about, how do you guys handle a raid? Anybody who sells in here, throw in there, what do you do when you get a raid? Key points, key things to remember. Welcome them in, acknowledge them, absolutely 100% acknowledge. And this is part of the reason why we have to keep chubby bucks. Yes. Keep looking at our chat all the time to make sure that we're catching raids. If you have a mod or somebody with you, that's a great job for them to remind you. If I miss a raid, my husband's over there like doing aerobics, getting my attention. Like, yeah, I better acknowledge it right away. Say thank you, have name pinned, ask to share their info. And that's all that it takes. Again, we don't have to stop your whole show, but being grateful for it, showing that gratitude that they came in. Thanks for the raid. Welcome. Yeah, let them promote. Go to their profile, read the bio. Bookmark shows, encourage others to also read the entire profile. So Yep, Aaron reads all the profile. Aaron, y'all, if you ever want to feel like you are king or queen of the world, go into raid Aaron. Raid the Aaronsville right there. I could be having a bad day. There's two people on this app that if I'm having a bad day, I will raid them. That's not the only time I raid them, but I'll tell you what, they are an instant mood lifter. You go into Aaron, the Aaron Sphere are 9 dimes. I feel like I am the queen of whatnot when I raid them because they make such a big deal out of it. Then they do it for everybody. It's not just me. They do it for everybody. And it's amazing. No, it is true. Dollar starts after raid. Ranch Hand Finds, there you go. Girl after my own heart right there. I love that. Because so far I haven't seen anybody say run a giveaway, thankfully, unless they did and I missed it. Did I miss it? Somebody said run a giveaway. I've seen some run a giveaway. Did you? Okay. Let's think about it. Let's think about the giveaway thing versus dollar. Now, do what works for you. I'm not against giveaways. Normally I do them. I'm not doing them today, honestly, because I'm out of shipping labels. I didn't bring enough. So think about a giveaway versus a dollar start item. Okay. A giveaway is going to benefit one person, right? And you have to pay money for that giveaway. You got to pay some type of money for it. Okay. The shipping, whatever the item is. Even a bare minimum postcard with shipping and all of that, it's going to cost you a good $3 to $5. Okay. One person wins. There's no guarantee that anybody's going to stay for 5 minutes. We live in that TikTok 30-second attention span world. It's no guarantee. Just running a giveaway, it used to be a long time ago that a giveaway is that thing that would get people to stay. That's not so much anymore, particularly if it's a sticker or a postcard. They're overdone. Look, I do postcards. I know they're overdone. That's not going to make anybody stay in the room. Very little. A dollar start, though, can benefit everybody in the room. Everybody gets excited about it. Everybody has a chance to participate. You're benefiting as a seller because something's going to sell. They're benefiting from getting a good deal. It instantly gives the people who came into the room something to do by bidding on something for $1, something to engage them and attract them, right? And people are like, oh, I'm not big enough. I can't do a dollar start. I'm not saying do everything. One item. You just spent $5 over here on this giveaway. Take that $5 and instead of charging $5 starting bid, make it a $1 starting bid. You're not losing any more. You're spending the same at the end of the day. And actually, you're having a chance for it to get bid up and actually make money. Early in my whatnot career, I was advised that the Givey would keep raiders for 5 minutes. Exactly. And you like the CEO cards? Thank you. Thank you, guys. Ranch Hand Finds, you were just so nice. Yeah, so just think about it. I mean, do what's right for your business, but think about the dollar starts. And if you already do dollar starts, okay, you're like, okay, well, I already do. Look, I'm in that boat too. I already do it. I can't do a dollar start as a benefit. We try to recognize them in another way. We can, we do the graphics. We are like, hey, this person can promote because they rated us. So there's ways to make people feel special. There's Swamp Chick says, I've had great fun and success with the dollar start for a raid. It's just a quicker way, and it's a win-win for everybody. It's not just a win for one person. It really is. Everybody in the room can enjoy that. Because how many of you, Jeremy Green 13 says this, and I feel that it's very true. So how many of you, when you see somebody run a dollar start, even if you're as like a raid, the raid comes in, the seller does a dollar start, even if that item is of no interest to you, it's still like, as a person in the room, I'm like, hey, that's cool. Oh, look at that person got a great deal. Even if the item that I don't like it, I don't want it, I might not bid on it. I still have this good, feel good thing about, wow, that was cool. Dollar start, man, that person got a great deal on that item. It's still, even if I'm not participating, I still feel like I am part of that participation. I sell high-end priced home decor textiles. Should I do a dollar or a lower priced item or high interest, high priced item? So do what works for you. I'll tell you what, if you have something that you pin to that say maybe it was a $15, $20 start, I don't know what your prices are. I'm just throwing something out there. If you have a $20 item that you were about to run and you got rated and that $20 item is pinned to the screen so people can see 20 and you say, hey, you guys, thank you for the raid. You know what, in honor of this raid, thank you, Bob, for rating us. I'm going to drop this down and run this for $1. I can almost guarantee you that's going to get bid back up. If it's an item that people want, if it's something that has some demand to it. Even if you go down to $5, That's still people then what you're doing is you're anchoring the price in their mind. They're seeing the 20, then they see you drop it to 5 or 1 or whatever it is, and they're like, man, that's a $20 item that they're starting at $5. It anchors the price for them, and most people will bid it right back up. It's very rare you're not going to see it bid up.
I don't know if you've seen the CG's Boomerang Echo Battle of the Best. Most of those items are high-end items. They all start for $1, and they only have 5 minutes to sell it. And some of those items, they have gone for over $1,000.
Yeah. Don't be afraid to start things for $1, you guys. You don't have to do the whole show. One item, just do one item at $1, or lower the price. Here's the other thing. Instead of running the very next item, if you're like, look, I was just about to run the banger of all bangers, I really don't want to do that for $1. If that's where you're at, have an item in reserve. Find something in your inventory that has a little bit of value to it that would excite people. Put it aside, just have it sitting by you, and have a little listing in there and call it the raid listing. Put a listing in your auction, have it the raid listing. And when somebody raids you, we got a raid. Guess what? We have a special raid listing. Every time somebody raids us, we run a $1 item. Here it is. Take a look at this. We're going to run it right now. Explain it, run it. You can have something that you feel that maybe you paid less for, but it's worth a little bit of something. So you can control it. It doesn't have to be the next item that you were going to show. You can control what that raid item is. Green 13 starts everything at $1, and items constant. Yeah, exactly. Just buy, not bid up. Ruby Moon. I hope I'm not putting you on the spot, but I am by your sentence there. I don't get many bidders. Most people just buy, not bid up. I am guessing by that statement that you start things at a higher price. You start things at over, I would say, $10 to $20, and that's why people don't bid it up. Straight up truth. That's why people don't bid it up. If you have, and I'm just going to take something, okay, let's take my Yeti cup. We know Yeti cups are what? I don't know. How much are these in the store? $40, $30. Okay. So if this is $30 in the store, and I'm going to put it on Whatnot for $20, that's still a great deal. Brand new Yeti, you're going to get it for $20 here. $20 is all I'm going to get. People know, people have this value in their heads of what things are worth. If I put this for $1, people are going to fight over it because there's a chance they're going to get it for a lot less than that 30. If I put it for 20, how many people want it for 20? This is an example I do all the time to help people understand the value the value a low start brings. Let me show you. Let me do my example first, then you can talk. All right, so, oh, my computer's about to die. Hold on. Sorry, you guys. I'll do this example. I got to plug in my computer so I can see the chat.
So I've seen shows where they have about 15 people and they post an item and the item starts at $2. And I've seen it go all the way to 60. So, I mean, they don't need a huge room for that. It's just making sure that you have a good item and people are gonna be interested in it.
So I've done this before. So if you've seen this, you can ignore me. If you haven't seen it, maybe this might kind of help wrap your head around this whole concept. You have a room. Imagine a circle, the best I can make with my arms, okay? This is everybody in your room right now, whether that be 5 people, 10 people, 100 people. This is everybody in your room. You run an item for $1, okay? All of these people could probably afford $1, right? You run an item for $5, that circle gets lower. You run an item for 10, lower, 20, lower, 25, lower, 30, lower. You have gone from a room of potential buyers like this down to this, the higher price you go. You want to make your items available to the most amount of people in your room if you want them to bid them up. So the higher you go, the lesser of people you have in your room. So think about this. If you only have 10 people in your room, all 10 probably could afford $1. You raise that to $10, maybe 5 of them can afford the $10. You raise that to $20, maybe you're down to only 2 people who might even want that item, and now they're not going to bid it up. They're going to buy it at face value. You raise it up any higher, you may get to one person who's interested. It takes two to bid, not one. So in a regular auction. So you want keep that thought process in your head that the price is a barrier to their purchase. You want to make the purchase process as easy and barrier free as possible to your buyers. No, and that's not even bringing in the concept of shipping, because that adds a whole nother layer to that. That's just starting price. Let's see what people are saying here. If you know your buyers and they're likely to buy, it's absolutely. Tripod, do you do dollar starts? I only need 2 people who want it. It happened with 5 people in a room. Yeah, it's 2 to bid. It only takes 2 to bid. That's it. 1 on a reverse auction, 2 on a regular auction. I say this maybe because I'm super new. I generally start low, still no bites. My dollar starts go for 1 or 2. I think it's important to have the high. And look, I'm a huge proponent. I without shame, a huge proponent, and the lower starts, the better. I will always preach that. However, I also believe everybody needs to do their own business strategy. And if you feel that higher starts work for you, go for it, because there are sellers. Who's Elaine? What's Elaine's username? I don't know if Millicent's is here. Millicent, can you put Elaine in there if you are here? I don't know if she's here or not. There is a jewelry seller. Thank you, Forgotten Memories. Elaine's Antique Jewels. She sells high-end jewelry. Does she start low? I think sometimes she does, but not always. No. Her pieces go for a whole lot of money. We're talking hundreds of dollars. She has built a very successful whatnot business with high starts, very high-end jewelry. But you have to look at what your products are. This is, but I'm not a high volume seller. My items of dollar are interior design quality. I have to get a certain amount of money for. I get that, because I sell vintage decor, so I get that. And when you first start doing dollar starts, if anybody's considering lower dollar starts, you probably will lose money at the beginning. I'm not going to paint it all as roses. I know. Yes, I know. My husband's like, we were talking about braids, but now we kind of got sidetracked to $1, so we're going to talk about $1. Oh, awesome. Southern Charm, that's amazing. We'll text you in a little bit. So no, it's okay. I like talking about this. When I first started doing dollar starts, I lost a ton of money. I did. I mean, for 2 or 3 months, it was hard. A lot of my stuff was going for $1, $2, $3, sometimes $4. Occasionally, you would get something in. The main concepts when you're doing dollar starts is, at the very beginning, make sure you have a reserve to cover the losses. It may take a few shows under your belt for people to understand that you continue to do this. People come into your room and you do dollar starts. They need to learn, they need to experience that this isn't a one-time thing, that you're going to continue to do this. So that's one thing. That's one of the reasons it takes time. So be prepared for that. The other concept that you have to keep in mind is you can't look at individual prices. That's eBay mentality. We bring our static listing mentality to whatnot. We cannot look at an individual price. We have to look at it in total. In total, do I sell enough to cover it? I still to this day will have items sell for $2 or $3. Not a lot, but they do sell for $2 or $3. However, I have items that are bid up to $40, $50, and it outweighs in total, on average out, you can still make money that way. Let's see, let me read the chat while I reconfigure my thoughts in my head. Swamp Chick says, we're beginning to move towards lower starts, but certain items will keep at a price we need to get for it. And there's nothing wrong with that. Just understand, the higher your price is, the less people there will be to bid on it. Generally, if you want a bidding war, bidding wars will not happen at higher prices. They will happen at lower prices, because more people see the opportunity to get a good deal at a lower price, so they will continue to bid on it. Whereas at a higher price, you've shrunk down the people that are going to buy, and you're going to get 1, maybe 2 people who will bid. That's their problem. And don't tell viewers that you paid more for it. That's their problem. 100%. Everybody has a different perception of what an item's value is. If somebody's value of my Stanley or my Yeti cup is far more than my value, well, good for them. That's the price that they're willing to pay for it and that they put on it. If your starts vary from 1 to 20, would you start with high or low starts first? Good question, Kelly. I would start with my lower priced items or mid-range items, move into my higher priced items, and then probably back down to lower priced items. I would do kind of like a curve with it. Keep in mind, or possibly do separate shows. I kind of like a mix. If you're doing different prices, I would kind of do like a curve. I do that with dollar starts. I don't put my bangers at the very front. I do kind of like my low mid-range items, move up into higher value items, and kind of, wrap it back up with low to mid-range items. I've sold $7 candy canes and $2 silver. Sometimes it's just about the eyes on your product. It is. It's just about who's there in the room at the time. Big sellers selling the same thing for way higher. Blows my mind. Good for them. Just saying, it's insane to me. Josie, the why that happens is they're buying the person. They're buying part of the experience. On Whatnot, it's the experience you buy, not just the product. The product is almost always secondary. Almost. There are shows like those silent shows where they're just showing product after product. That's product focused. That's transactional. Whatnot is relational. It is about the experience. It's about being part of the show, buying something from somebody that you trust or admire or want to have a piece of what they're selling. That's why some of these big sellers get so much money for their items. People are buying part of that experience. It's not about the product. We can all have the same product, but it's how you're delivering it. It's what you're creating for the people in your room that is going to set you apart and start to build your room up. The human algorithm. I love that analogy. I love how you put that. A rock sold for $30. Yeah, I've seen Green 13. What did he sell? A napkin, or it was something odd that he sold for like crazy money. It's the experience. It's the experience that you're creating. So getting kind of back to the dollar starts thing. Let's talk about the mixed prices versus the dollar starts. If you are doing mixed prices, I talked about this last night in the podcast. I'm not a proponent of it. I'm just not. Do your business. I'm not. You got to do what works for you. Here's why I'm not a proponent of it. It's confusing to buyers. It's a barrier to buying. Mixed prices is a barrier to buying. I would highly recommend to anybody, pick a starting point and have all of your items at that starting point. Whether that's 1, 5, 10, 15, whatever it is, one price across the board, that's your starting point. Is it you're going to lose some on some, gain some on the others at that starting point? Probably. Pick one starting point and make that starting point as low as you possibly can stomach it to be. Why? When a buyer comes into your room, one, it's easy. Hey, everybody, everything starts at $1. Hey, everybody, everything starts at $5, $10, whatever it is. It's easy for a buyer to understand. There is nothing worse. Y'all tell me if you've ever experienced this. There is nothing worse than going into a room. It's not pre-listed. Everything's being pulled up randomly. And they pull up one item and they're like, $5. We're going to start this for $5. They explain it. It runs. People bid on it. Wonderful. The next item, $5 again, then $5. So as a buyer, you've come into this room of somebody you're not familiar with. You're like, oh, they're running things at $5. Cool. They pull out the next item and you're like, oh, I like that. And already cemented in your head from what you have seen is $5 starts. And they're like, okay, we're going to start this at $20. Instantly, you're like, oh, right? I'm doing $10 starts and make an engagement bingo to trigger the dollar starts. There you go. So you play some type of a game to start the dollars. That's wonderful. That's using dollar starts strategically as like an incentive, as a prize, as a fun way to get to a lower price. People get excited about that. So no matter what your starting point is, it should be the same starting point. My opinion again, but I love discounts. Green 13 last night, they all agreed with this thought that it's easier for your buyers. You want the less friction as possible for the people in your room. That means an easy to understand shipping structure. Easy to understand no matter what it is that you're shipping. If you have a million different custom profiles going on and you've got to explain why shipping is this much on this item and this much on this item, people are out. They do not want all that mental energy. People want to come to your show and be led through an experience. Think about it like this. Here's a whole new analogy I've never used before. It's like going to Disney World and getting on a ride and you're on that little boat and you can just sit back and chill and people are singing to you and you're seeing the dancing and it's fun and it's engaging. And then it comes to the end of the show. That's what they want, right? They want easy. Buyers want easy. So with easy means consistent pricing, easy to understand shipping, easy to see items, whether you're listing them or you're explaining it. They want to know what's coming next in the show. They want to know if there's a turn in the road or not. Because even when you're on that boat in Disney, you're kind of peeking ahead. Are we about to go down? Are we going up? Are we turning left? Are we turning right? They want that too in the show. They want to know what's coming. So you have to be the guide. You have to guide them through this whole experience. I do $2 starting auction. I went broke last year with the dollar starts. Cheap deals all day. And I can understand, and again, pick where your price is. I'm a proponent of dollars. I do dollars. I think they work. However, here's what I always say, and I know I'm going to offend somebody, and I don't mean to offend anybody with this comment. And cheap deals all day, I'm not saying you did this. This is in general to everybody. Y'all can't do dollar starts and sell your crap and expect to be successful with selling crap with dollar starts. People don't want crap. If it's crap, you're not going to get much. You've got to have something of value. If you're going to make a lower price, make it worth their effort. Make it worth their effort. What I see happen a lot of times is people will come on Whatnot. They'll do $5, $10, $15, whatever starts. They don't sell everything, and they get a lot of leftovers. And then they take their leftovers and they do a clearance show, clear my shelf show, or clearance show, or, whatever type of show, buy it before I donate it show, with the stuff that nobody wanted to begin with at dollar starts. So they expect stuff that nobody wanted to begin with to sell for $1, or crap to sell and get bid up. They do the show, nothing gets bid up because it's not worth much. And then they're like, dollar starts doesn't work. Dollar starts don't work because it's the product that you're trying to sell. Bring something of value to people. And I'm not saying it has to be $100, $200, but if I'm trying to sell you something for $1 that's only worth $5 and charging you $9 shipping, who's going to go for that? When you had trouble having the shipping costs show up when you tried to do a card show, well, that's really weird. That sounds like maybe a Whatnot glitch, because shipping should always show for the buyer. We don't see it as sellers, but the buyers always see shipping. What are your thoughts on doing a sales show with reduced prices? Does it cheapen the perceived value of your product? I think it does. I'm against clearance sale. Your words matter. One of the PDFs I have is about the language of selling. The words you use can highly affect your bid prices, the desire people are going to have for an item, just the presentation of the item. Words matter. I don't want to do anything that cheapens what I'm doing. I want people to feel like they're getting a deal. I'm going to start everything at $1. You have an opportunity to get something for $1. I'm not getting rid of, I'm not going to clearance sell everything at $1. I'm giving you an opportunity. There's a big difference in you having an opportunity or a clearance sale of $1. So words do matter. I'm against the sale. I don't even like the word flash sale. I use it because I can't change the terminology within Whatnot. I don't like clearance, leftovers, anything that gives this perception of nobody else wanted it, so now I'm going to see if you do. I don't like it. I think it does. Some of the other words, and this is the one personally that I'm working on, is the word just. Just cheapens, devalues, minimizes an item. This is just a purple pen versus, y'all, I got a purple pen that you will not believe how vibrant this color is. Just a purple pen or a vibrant purple pen changes the perception of the pen. Your words are only, this is only, or a little, this is just a little thing. You're responsive. You're creating a visual with your words. You're creating this mental image in people's heads. So watch how you're saying things. It really, really can affect the outcome of the sale. I don't remember all of them off the top of my head. I do have the PDF in there, but it does talk about, there's a whole bunch of different words and what you can say instead. I mean, that's another thing too. You could probably go to Google and Google stuff like that and get that type of information. There's a lot of sales psychology behind stuff like that. So I use just, simple, and little when showing my bangers. Tongue in cheek, because bangers sell themselves. My basic items get all of my marketing. No, well, listen, there you go. We teach our students to write like this. Make it pretty. Yeah. Words highly matter in everything we do. And this is one of my own personal struggles. And that's why I talk about it so much. I'm a very blunt to the point person, and that can be very offensive and off-putting to many, many people. Liz, what time is your show? Because I want to rate into you. I'm trying to like keep going until you're on, because we want to go see if you're doing your bad advice show. I like sourcing for things so I can get excited. Yeah, get excited about the items. 9. Okay, we're going to go till 9, you guys, because then we're going to rate into Liz. We're the same. I'm working on my bluntness as well. Yeah, don't be fake. I'm not saying come on here, be fake. I mean, embrace who you are and what you bring to the table, but there's also ways to improve ourselves, right? All bad advice. I'm only answering questions. Yes, I cannot wait. I cannot wait for your bad advice show. Like I literally, that's the first thing I talked about when I started my show this morning was your show. So I'm looking forward to this. Yeah, and soften what you're saying. Get excited about your products. The ums here, I'm saying ums right now because now it's in my head not to say that.
Let's go, Sassy. Let's go.
Oh, yeah, we can give Liz a hard time. I'm not going to give you a hard time. I'm going to be enjoying the heck out of your show.
That's going to be a very good show.
Oh, no, Radchan Finds. So, words matter. Again, I can't stress that enough. Just how you describe things, how you talk about your pricing, how you welcome people in, what you say after a raid, how you correct somebody. If somebody's breaking a rule in your show, we all have our show rules, right? I don't like promoting. How you handle that, the words you use to describe it, the words you use to write a review, the words that you use when you're answering customer service DMs, all of those have huge impact. I'm a very blunt person. ChatGPT is my best friend to make me sound nicer than what's in my head. It's not even that it's mean in my head. It's just, I'm a to the point person. When I see something, I'll be like, that's stupid. And my daughter will kick me. She'll be like, nice words, nice words. You know, my 15-year-old will remind me because I am very I'm going to call it as it is. So before I answer a lot of emails, a lot of things that I do, words have so much power. I will put it into ChatGPT. I'm like, help me write this in a more professional, kinder manner. Help me write this in a customer service focused manner. So I get my point across in a way that doesn't offend people, because my goal isn't to offend you. I just speak very bluntly. And I know this, I do this in my 9-to-5 job all the time. Now, the people who work with me really close, they're kind of used to it. They're just kind of like, I'm going to go to Tracy to get the honest to God, straight up answer. But for people who don't know me, I have to be very careful because I know who I am, and now I take steps to fix things that may offend other people. Perception is reality. As much as I say, bring your authentic self, the perception of other people is reality. My AI says that we may be a little Let's try this. Yes. Kate yells at you about your customer service all the time. And it's not that hard. Speaking of what Liz likes, she had a really great thing that really made me stop and think about customer service, something that she said. And I've never been one to be like, the customer's always right, or, I feel like if I know that I'm right, I'm right. I'm going to have a hard time saying the customer's always right. Also, the customer is always right is a cutoff sentence. It's the customer is always right in things of taste, trends and taste or something. That sentence really means in what they want. The customer's right in, if you can have the most butt ugly cup, and if the customer says it's beautiful, then it's beautiful. That's what that saying means. It doesn't mean that every time they make a complaint that they're right. So you got to realize what the sentence is for the whole thing. But she had said, when you get a customer complaint, when something breaks, when they don't like something, put yourself in their shoes, acknowledge their situation, acknowledge their disappointment. That was eye-opening to me. Like, I know my disappointment. I'd be like, I'm sorry that happened to you. But really put yourself in their shoes. This customer took their time to be in your show, spent money, they swiped, they made a decision to swipe, they swiped, they spent their money, they waited for that item to show up, they went to their mailbox, they got the item, they had the anticipation of opening this item only to be completely disappointed by what was inside for one reason or another. Acknowledge that. That is huge. And it's what Liz said that. And I'm like, wow, I've never put myself in the customer's shoes on how they felt when they got something from me that's broken. I would just be like, I'm sorry, USPS broke that. No, it's more than I'm sorry, USPS broke that. I'm really sorry for the disappointment you have in this item, that I wasn't able to meet your needs with this. How can we make this better? Here's what I can do for you. Maybe I don't have another one. Maybe I can't send it to you. But if you go to Whatnot, you can put a claim in. I will make sure I approve that refund immediately. So that's just telling you guys, repeating it, just because it really struck something in me to make me see things differently. So that's something. Let's see, what else are we doing? Oh, here's another do. We never even got to our don'ts. Here's another do. Build, and we kind of talked about this a little bit, about using your skills to broaden your offerings, or broaden what you can do in different revenue sources. Have a good day, Ranch and Finds. Yeah, and don't be stingy. Look, just have good customer service. Just give them their dang money back. Just give them, what good is it going to do to argue with them? I don't care if they are wrong. They are the biggest scammer and they're wrong in the world. Give them their money back. I mean, unless it's something really high end, like, give them their money back. just move on with your day. Your mental health, your stress is not worth their pettiness. Every seller needs that information. Very true. The message I've received from buyers and then deleted because of the error they made. Yeah. And it works both ways. It works both ways. As buyers, we need to understand, as buyers, I've got some messages. I have got some messages for things. There was one in particular that it was like, the message was so direct. It was more than just blunt. It was written like I intentionally tried to scam them on something. We need to understand, as buyers, the majority of people, sellers on here, are not out to get you wrong. They're honest to goodness business people doing the best that they possibly can, but they're also human and they make mistakes. That if something should come with a chip on it, if something should come maybe different than what you expected, there is a good possibility that seller did not realize that, did not know about it. What is your view on someone wanting to cancel an order because they said they need the money? I've had this happen the next day after the show. So I'm probably against the mainstream on this. So my opinion, take it for what it's worth, is probably against what you're going to hear a lot of other people say. If somebody and I'm assuming this all happens before you ship the item is still in your possession as a seller, I'm going to let them cancel. I'm going to say, okay, sorry you feel that way. I may remind them about that. Auctions are binding contracts, because they still need to be understanding the rules. Kindly, again, I'll use ChatGPT to make it nice. And I will say, go ahead and put a request in through Whatnot, a cancellation request. I would rather just let them cancel it than go through the trouble of packing it, shipping it, only for them to get it to ask for the refund, particularly because I pay part of the shipping. Now I'm paying to ship it to you, and I'm paying for you to ship it back to me. Why? Why go through that? Why put myself through that? It's not worth it to me. It's not worth it. Okay, fine. You want to cancel? I'm not going to show it in that show again. I'm going to wait. I'm going to put it aside and bring it back out 2 or 3 weeks later. But why? Just let them cancel it. Does it suck? Yes. Now, my rule is I will do it once or twice. You get 3 times with me. If you are a repeat offender, now we have an issue. When you're a repeat offender that you just can't control your swipey finger, and then you have buyer's remorse and you want to cancel over and over with every excuse in the book, at that point, you're not going to be welcome at my shows. I've blocked very few people. I think I'm up to 3 now. Am I 3 maybe? In 2.5 years. So I don't have repeat offenders. I've had one. I've literally had one person that I felt was a repeat offender and really was just a bad customer that I had to quit accepting in my shows. Let's see. Bid responsibly, yes. Because I assume they are not being sneaky. Yeah, just take a beat, take a breath, wait a beat, and then just give them their money back. Just be like, yep, go ahead, cancel. Now, don't you do it. Don't take the hit because of their stupidity, because of their guilt. They need to request the cancellation, then you can accept it. Now, if you've shipped it, I think that becomes a different story. So that's my advice before it goes out, before it leaves your home or your place of business. All right, hold on. Nervous Nelly says, your show thumbnail. And what am I missing? Does it ding the account if they cancel? It does not. If they cancel it before you ship it, it does not hurt you. So that's why I was saying it's a different story after the fact. But if you have not shipped it yet and they asked to cancel it, you're not hurt as a seller. You're not dinged. What am I missing here? Hold on, let's see. Nervous Nelly says your show thumbnail. Which thumbnail? What thumbnail are we talking about? Help me out here. Talking about bookmarks. I had someone new to Whatnot message me about how I should be sending trinkets as my giveies and not anything else. You don't have to listen to, honestly, you don't have to listen to that. Not all advice is good advice. If they don't like your giveaway, they don't have to enter. Plain and simple. And don't be afraid to stand strong in who you are and what you stand for as your business. Don't be afraid of bad reviews because of that. Most people won't leave you a bad review. You can always respond politely to a bad review, but if they're going to review that you sent them as a trinket and not something else, that's on them. That shows their character far more than it does yours in a review. So I wouldn't worry about that, particularly if you have good reviews. Oh, bookmark is. Oh, thank you. Okay. Buyers who are asked for excessive refunds eventually get declined. They do. Thank you, Sassy Vintage Chick. And actually, I'm going to use that. That's the only person that I ended up blocking from my shows. And I feel free to talk about this because they're blocked. They may be here under another name. I don't care, really. I had a buyer, and this was my true story on when I chose that this was a bad buyer, when I decided that I had had enough. I had a buyer, bought a couple of things, and it doesn't matter the price. They bought a couple of things. It wasn't broke, but I always put coupon codes in my thing. I get a message, my coupon code doesn't work. Okay, no problem. Here's another one. Next order, there was something else about a coupon code in that order. Next order, there was some little chip that I missed. Next order, it was something else. Every single order was something, and it was always from the same person. There was some reason why they were unhappy. Every single freaking order, to the point where I would see their name come up and I would be like, just start cringing on the inside, like, oh my God, what am I going to have to deal with? That's where it got to. And it doesn't matter if I was talking about a $5 item or a $100 item. When I personally got stressed because I saw somebody's name and was already anticipating the issue I was going to have with them after they bought from me, I was like, that's enough. And finally, they had asked for a refund on something. They said, oh, you didn't put this in the box. I'm like, I clear as day. I remember, and the reason I was vividly remember it was because of the buyer had caused so much issues already that I'm like, all right, just this is for this person. Okay, here's these items. And it was one of those things that really stuck in my mind. And finally, they're like, hey, you didn't put this in my box. I'm like, I'm sorry, I did. And I said, please go back and check your box. It was some ephemera in an envelope that I had put in an envelope in a box with other items. I'm like, it was in this type of envelope. This is what it looked like. Please go. Oh, my husband already threw the box away. I don't have it. I'm like, I'm sorry. There's nothing I can do. I'm like, you can request a refund through Whatnot. They came back to me and they said, Whatnot denied my request. What are you going to do about it? All right, you just told me that you're doing this to more people than just me. I'm sorry. There's nothing I can do about it. Block. At that point, but it was multiple instances. Like, I'm pretty forgiving. I'm going to give you a ton of grace. So, but that's the only customer I've ever blocked at all. The other ones it was legit, like, trolley type issues. Choose your battles. I don't know if people have multiple accounts. I couldn't set up another account because my phone number was already associated. You should be able to do one or two. I have two. I have this one, and then I have my sneaky account. I have my one, nobody knows who I am, and I can just do whatever I want. I'm not mean. I use it every now and then. Said as one small business to another, block them because I thought it would be an issue in the future. Yeah, exactly. You get a feeling, and I am not a block keeper. I do not recommend blocking people. I think people are way too block happy. People are way too block happy. But you know what? Y'all be block happy out there, because all those people you block are going to come to my show. So, you know now. What am I missing? Some folks just aren't trying to catch up on our chat here. Yep. Research. Your research there, Sassy. Yes, I like that. It's my research account. Yeah, only block if it's a creep. I say this all the time. In my talk shows, you disagree with me, I'm totally okay with you disagreeing with me. You can put that in the chat. As long as we're respectful to each other, I'm okay with it. because we all have different opinions. And you know what? Somebody else may resonate more with you or learn from you more than what I'm saying just because you disagreed. There's been times when people disagree with me in the chat and I'll leave. I might not say something immediately, but I'll think about it and I'm like, you know what? Maybe they're right. Maybe that's not the right thought pattern that I had. You disagree. I for beauty. I disagree. Yes. Livy, what are you saying? Well, what not do anything if they didn't photograph? If they didn't photograph, call out flaws, paint drips. I already reached out. She said no, contact whatnot. Whatnot will refund you probably. Yeah. You can put in as not as described. I think as buyers, we just need to use that responsibly as buyers, particularly when we're buying something that's used, right? And this is what I was saying earlier. Most sellers are not trying to hide things from you. We need to be reasonable. I have bought stuff in the vintage category that has come maybe with a crack or a chip or a little flaw that wasn't disclosed. But I've watched these people's shows and I know that they do their best to disclose everything. So we have to use a little bit of reason when we get items that are used, vintage or antique items, or used clothing. We can't just because, oh, you missed this tiny little spot on the hem. They're human, right? So offer, as much as like I'm saying from a seller, we need to offer buyer's grace. From a buyer's perspective, you need to offer seller's grace too. There's a fair amount of, look, we're just all trying to be honest to goodness people here and we miss things. Perception's not a bad thing. You have a separate account because you took over your husband's account. Well, there you go. My husband has his. I can't log into his. We keep ours separate besides Xoey's Treasures. I have one I do research on. Honestly, I do. I go around and I like what Sassy Vintage says. I've never called it a research account, but I like that term that Sassy Vintage chick coined there. But I do. I look a lot. I'll go in under my other account to gather information, things to talk about. A lot of the stuff, when I say I see other sellers, sometimes it says Xoey's Treasures. Other times I'm just snooping in shows because I want to know what's going on out there. I think we all should be pretty much aware of what's happening in our space that we are operating our business in. Lurking in rooms. Yeah, all the time. All right, let's keep. What else are we? We've got about 10 more minutes, maybe 5 more minutes. We're going to go raid Liz. We're giving Liz a chance to get her show going. We're going to go. Is she on? Liz is on? All right. You do that to find new sellers. Exactly. And here's the other thing. And I don't say this because I feel like I'm a big seller. I don't believe that at all. We are all sellers. But particularly like when I was doing the CEO challenge, I've been on incognito mode because there are times when I may go into a room and I feel that I disrupt the room. I feel that sometimes some of the newer sellers will stop and say, oh, Xoey's Treasures. And then all of a sudden they're talking about me instead of selling. And I appreciate that. I'm honored and I appreciate it. And it's like, wow. But at the same time, I don't want to disrupt somebody's show. So sometimes I'll go on my other account just to go in and look at things because I don't want to be a nuisance in a sense, right? So, and then are they getting nervous? Yeah, and I can see that they're nervous. Or, sometimes I know there's that statement, all publicity is good publicity, but sometimes I feel that it can be annoying to other people in their room or like, oh, you just stopped and you're talking about Xoey's Treasures. And now all of a sudden I'm like, ooh, I don't want you to think bad of me. I didn't ask for that. Don't get me wrong. It's not that I'm bothered by it. I'm more concerned about bothering their show, about interrupting their show. So, and then particularly when I was doing the CEO challenge and the 6 participants, I didn't want them to get like nervous or feel they had to say something or think that I was like, oh, she's here and watching me. So I was incognito. I felt was safer. Okay, you guys understand. It's hard to talk about that without it coming across weird. Sometimes though, seeing someone you have a connection with can settle nerves. Sometimes it can. I'm about to come off incognito because CEO challenge is over. So I'm going to come off of incognito. A lot of times I will talk about, like, I'll answer, like if somebody says something, if I'm on incognito and I hear them mention me or whatever, I try to like pipe up in the chat. I had a really good experience the other day, you guys. This is a little bit of a brag, but I got to share it because it made me feel really good. So I went into a show. I was in incognito mode. I went into a show. and the seller was talking about reselling Roundtable, and they were like, "Hey, you guys heard of Zoey's Treasures? She does this YouTube. It's a resellers table or something." And they didn't quite have the name right, which didn't matter. But they were like, out of the blue, that I was incognito. They did not know I was in the room, and they were like sharing my name. This is one of those times where you hear your name being spoken at a table that you're not at, and it was so like I got so excited. I'm like, look! I was showing my husband, and it was just so heartwarming to go into a room and hear that. And it wasn't necessarily about me. It was about the Reselling Roundtable, which is a whole group of us coming together. But it was really a great feeling, particularly because they had no clue that I was in the room listening. So it's stuff like that that's just kind of makes you feel kind of good. Yeah, when you make a connection. Oh, Libby, thank you. And I do, when you guys tag me, I do try to come in as often as I can. If it's during the day and I'm working 9 to 5, sometimes I can if like I'm in meetings and stuff, but I do try to come in, and a lot of times I'll be like, oh, thank you for the tag, just to be like, hey, what are we talking about, So, all right, you guys have been amazing this morning. Thank you so much for hanging out. We're going to go raid, hang out. Let's go hear what Liz likes and all of her bad whatnot advice. Ask questions, you guys. Give her as many questions as you can. I want to see like all this bad advice that she gives, which is perfect because I covered the do's. She's going to cover the don'ts in a different way. So you guys have a great week. We will be back on Wednesday morning from somewhere in Georgia. So we will see you then. All right. Bye, everybody. There's Liz. Can you turn this button off? I can't hear it.